Hello, 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 and good morning to every single one of you. Thank you so much for joining us once again on another session of the Youth Forum's conversation powered by the Co-operative Bank. Now, we always do this every single Friday from 11 a.m. And of course, the intention is to make sure that we are equipping all the young people with the right skills that they need when they get into business and employment as well. Now, for the last several weeks, from January actually, we've covered very important topics such as investing, buying shares, youth in employment, starting business as well. And just in case you've missed out on any of these conversations, you do not have to worry at all. All you have to do is go back to our social media platforms, Co-op Bank Kenya, on Facebook, on X, and on YouTube as well, and you will be able to rewatch all those amazing conversations. Now, my name is Violeta Ngina. I'm back at it again as your host for this session today. Now, last week we did have a very interesting conversation. It was focusing entirely on youth in employment, and out of that conversation tuliona maswali yenyu, and a lot of them had a lot to do with CVs. How do I write my CV in the right way? Na wakati nimeitwa kwa hiyo interview, how do I present myself? How do I answer the questions? And we decided, you know what, we've had you, so the conversation today will be all about making sure you get the right CV out there and positioning yourself in the best way once you get the opportunity to attend the interview. And this is cutting across everyone, whether you are applying for that formal job in an organization, ama hata kama unaenda interview mahali ambapo they looking for a shop assistant. All that will be covered in our conversation today. So allow me to introduce our panel of guests. We do have Mr. Hosea Awich, who is HR business expert. Thank you so much for being with us today. Just maybe kidogo tu tuambie, what should we expect from you today?
Thank you so much. Today I have the Kenya that I'll give to the people who have struggled to get jobs because they can't do a good CV.
Right.
I will give them the script and the marking scheme.
All right.
Yes.
We are looking forward to getting that Kenya. Also, we do have Emmanuel Shichende, not a new face on this set. He's representing the youth, and he is a customer success manager in the banking space. Karibu sana tena for the second time. And just as we start, Emmanuel, umeandika CV ngapi?
Imeandika around 10 to 15 to say hapo.
All right. So we're looking forward to seeing how your experience with the first one was. Did you know what to write? What were your struggles?
Safi.
You'll tell us about that in more, Cindy.
Yes.
And of course, finally, we do have Anne Kihuria, a HR expert as well. Also, we are seeing her for the second time on the set today. Thank you for being with us today. Utaanza tu kwa kutuambia umuhimu wa CV ni gani?
Asante. CV ni important. It tells us about you even before we meet you at the interview.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So are we getting it right so far or not?
Wengine wanapata, wengine wanakosea, and that's why we are here today.
Great.
Yeah.
So we are here to learn so much about writing that perfect CV and presenting yourself once you go for the interview. And also remember, this conversation is not just for us. Here we do want you to talk to us across the different platforms that you are watching us on. So if you do have a question or a feedback that you'd like to send to us, please feel free to send it to us. I will be sampling it as we continue with this conversation. And remember, our hashtag here is hashtag let's go, let's grow. So let's jump right into the conversation. Mr. Hosea, wakati mtu anaandika hiyo CV, amepresent, amesubmit CV yake whether online ama physically, what's the most important thing that you will look out for on that CV?
Thank you so much. A good CV, there's a standard way of doing a good CV. There are key sections we need in a CV. There's the biodata section, there's the skills and experience section, there's the education background, there's the contacts and the referees. Those are the key things we need in a CV. But above all, other than just drafting a CV, we need to see action. What is the impact? Don't just list the things you have done or the expectations, your responsibilities. What did you achieve?
Right.
If you can make that out of your CV, the CV will speak for itself.
Right.
So that we are able to say, this one stands out and this is what we'll pick.
Right.
Yes.
Does length matter?
Yes, it does.
Right.
If you are a new hire, you have just graduated from high school and you're looking for a job and it's your first application, A pager, 1 or 2 pager is okay.
All right.
If you're an experienced person, you have worked over time and you're doing a CV to look for another job, between 2 to 3 pages, 5 is on a higher side.
Right.
So averagely 2 to 3 pages is good for any CV.
Right.
Going beyond 5 is too long.
Too long.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Emmanuel, tukuje
Yes,
kwako
yes.
wakati ulikuwa unaandika your first CV. Take us back to that particular time na pengine ile challenge that you feel you faced
Yes.
when writing it.
Yes.
Uli tense wapi? Shida ilikuwa inaingililia wapi? Ulikuwa unajikunia kichwa wapi? Unashindwa
Yes.
hapa sasa mtu anaandikaga nini? Yeah, so just help us understand your experience as a first time
Awesome.
writing the CV.
Yes, I remember for me, having gone through the whole experience, you've now graduated university. Well, obviously you have your marks there, but the other marks you have to show now is high school, primary.
Right.
For me, I was never academically skilled, or let's say sikuwa at the top. I wasn't the top class people.
Right.
Because I was your kid who would be extracurricular. So swimming, running, sports, music, you'd find me.
Right.
So that obviously did quite a few things to my academics.
Yeah.
Grades ziko hapo. So it's that aspect of now you really have to show these grades because there's no other option.
Yeah.
They're asking for your grades, both high school, primary,
Right.
and university. So that aspect for me was the most challenging.
Right.
Because now you're laying everything on the table. You feel, and it feels embarrassing to some extent, but at the end of the day, you just have to show what you can do beside that, and I wrote all of those things. Kila kitu niliandika.
Right.
And
So did you include your co-curricular activities?
100%. That was even the bulk. So I wrote all the medals I got, all the leadership positions,
Yes.
things I did in the community, getting people to plant trees. All of those things are what I included onto my CV, and that really made a bulk of the information
Right.
and the data that I presented.
Great.
Yes.
Right, so over to you, Anne. I'm very sure kuna mtu ambaye anasikiza and maybe the situation is the same as Emmanuel. Anaogopa, I didn't perform very well in school, lakini I do have what it takes to work out here in this particular job that I'm looking out for. Na pia mtu ambaye anafikiria, I do not have so much experience, na sana sana mtataka kuona what has this person done, and I'm feeling, I'm just from school, what do I write? You know, so help us understand kwa ule mtu ambaye ako kwa hiyo situation. What do you write so that at the end of the day, whether your grades were not so good, my experience professionally is not that much, you can still present a CV that will impress you.
Yeah. You can add those things, leadership positions. You can put even projects that you've worked on. Maybe ulikuwa club member na ulikuwa na leadership kwa hiyo club. It's good to add them there because they support the CV and they showcase other skills that you have that will now be used together with the other skills that you have provided.
Right.
So put them there. There is no harm because it still serves as experience.
Right.
Kukua kwa hiyo leadership position inaonesha skills that you have.
Right.
Yeah. So it's
Kama
good.
ulifanya internship mahali, can you also include
Yes,
it there?
you can do it.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, so tukuje kwako Mr. Hosea. Umechukua CV hivi, ukaanza kuangalia, and even before you finish, you're like, you know what, hii hata siendelei. I'm putting it on the side.
Yes.
What are those things that make a CV a no, I'm not going ahead with this one?
Okay.
Yeah.
Number one, like I said, a bulky CV. Depending on the level of hire, there's a level I expect this person is fresh from high school. I don't expect a 20-page CV. So the bulky CV is not a good thing. When I look at your CV and I'm able to see in the last 6 months, you have done 4 jobs. That is something, that's an indication. Am I the next statistic?
Right.
Okay. When I look at your CV and the formatting is an issue, there is a spelling issues on your CV, that speaks to me.
Right.
The other thing that is very keen on a CV, you can have so many achievements, so many educational backgrounds and studies, but you start with the most relevant. Let's say you have applied for a CEO job, and the first thing in your academic qualification is class 8 grade. Then you come to the degree, the professorship, the PhD down there. You have worked in so many banks. The first thing you say is, the first thing in your CV under experience is internship. So you see the flipping of what is not starting with the most important thing, you put the least relevant. You see, I spent less than 10 seconds in your CV. I should see something should click within that 10 seconds.
Right.
If I have to flip through, read through to see the most important qualification I'm looking for, because I need to marry your CV with the specifics of the job I advertised.
Right.
I should see what I need from my job in your CV.
Right.
If I have to scan and look for them, remember I have thousands of CV to look at. So those are some of the quick wins. Formatting, spell check, avoid bulky CV. Please make the most important things glaring. The professional summary is very key, speaks a lot. In a snapshot, it tells me this is Ngina in a summary. And those are the things that if you do them in your CV, I can easily, quickly pick it out. CV is a requirement for job application. I cannot throw it away, but it makes me pick one over the other.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. So kuna wale watu ambao, and I think naturally tumezoea kuandika according to miaka venye zinafuatana. Unaanza na kitambo, that's why uko kitambo you are not doing so much, so hizo ndo zinatokea juu as you go building up. But what I'm getting from you ni hizo the most important, the major ones uzipandishe juu, hizo zingine zinaweza shuka chini. Alright, thank you so much for that. Nitakuja kwako Ann, utuambie how important is it for me to include my hobbies?
Yeah.
I like to play piano. I like to cook.
Yes.
Do you want that information?
Yes, it's important, and last time we talked about it, because what they say to us is your personality. Yeah, so we'll be, like I said, I gave an example last week of somebody who shows they do sports. We will see that they don't struggle with possibly discipline or teamwork.
Right.
If somebody shows me arts, it's quick. I'll know this person doesn't struggle with innovative ideas and something like that.
Right.
So they are good. They need to be there. It's just also adding to the glimpse and of showing us who you are as a person.
Right.
Because we are hiring an individual, you know, so we want to see who is this person.
All right.
Yeah.
Kwa hivyo tusiogope kuandika,
Usiogope.
napenda kucheza football. Amta ni judge.
Yeah.
All right, great. So let's come to you, Emmanuel.
Yes.
Najua umeandika CV kadhaa. All right. Each CV, were you editing it to fit what you're doing, ama yako ilikuwa one size fits all? Niko na hii CV, kukiitanwa huku ndio napeleka. Huyu mtu amekuja, mimi ni uncle yako nafanya kazi sijui wapi, nipe makaratasi, hiyo ndo unapeana. So did you have different ones that you were editing with time?
Yes. I would say I have grown throughout the years with the various CVs that I've written. Obviously in the beginning, the first few, standard. That same one cuts across. But over time you realized, or rather I realized and I was informed that you need to be able to look at the position or what you're applying for and figure out how it aligns with your CV. So the context of my CV, does it actually match up? As Mr. Jose has said, can they be able to look at the job and my CV and be able to say, okay, we see similarities. So over time I was able to improve on that and make sure that the relevant information that actually needs to be there.
Right. Yes. So Mr. Jose, I'd want for you to jump in on that. Kuna wengine wengi wenye wako kwa hiyo category ya Emmanuel, the first time, one CV cutting across everyone. Does that cost us opportunities as the young people seeking employment?
Yes, it does.
Right.
And my advice is this. Have one master CV. That is for you to keep updating. You have studied, add it up. You have learned a skill, add it up. There is a master CV. As you start applying for jobs, now tailor-make it to the job you're applying for. If you're applying for a banking sector job, edit your master CV, send it to the bank. If you're applying for maybe a sales job in a company, edit the master CV, then send. So have one standard CV that you keep updating everything that is about you, but as you apply for jobs, tailor-make it the job of the moment.
Right.
Yes.
Great. So something important ambayo mli mention at the very beginning on one of the most important thing hapo kwa CV yako ni the referees.
Yes.
All right. So Anna, I'd like for you to tell us tuandike wangapi hapo kwa hiyo referees section, and also just expound further on how critical that particular segment is kwa CV ya mtu.
Yeah. You can have three should be fine. It's important. That's what we use for reference checks.
Right.
So when you send in your CV and you come for the interview later, we do a callback just to check on this person who we are hiring.
Right.
Are they really who they say they are? Have you worked with them before? What is their character? So we use those referees to do a reference, something we call a reference check.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. In this day and age, kuna kijana ambaye I'm just fresh from school. Sina employment. So ukiniambia niandike referees, niandike nani, na si ati kuna mtu nitasema nilifanyia kazi so they can recommend me. So they're a bit stuck considering you're saying at least 3.
Yes.
So Hosea,
Yes.
mimi ambaye ndo naanza.
Yes.
I'm getting into the job market now. Where do I get these referees from? And just in case I've not worked somewhere
Yes.
previously, mali naweza sema huyu alikuwa boss wangu, who
Yes.
can I fill in that position, and how do I make sure that my referees section is following the rules that we're living in this day and age?
Okay. Just to demystify CV reference, a referee is somebody who can vouch for you, who knows about you, your academic journey, career journey, mentorship journey. So if you have not worked before, you went to a high school or a campus or a university, any of those can be a reference. You have spiritual mentors. One of those can be a referee. You have done internship while you are studying. That's a must. One of the people you worked with or you interned in their company can be a referee.
Right.
But just to warn the youth, it's very easy to just go dropping CVs everywhere.
Right.
A referee is somebody who knows what you're doing, what you are about to do. So even as you look to put somebody's name in your CV, let them know. Ngina, I'm about to apply for a job, or I've applied for a job, I would wish to put you as a referee.
Right.
Just in case they reach out to you. Anne said we do reference checks. When we reach out to that person and they are clueless, imagine 20 years later, you have given a referee of a primary school teacher, maybe a grade 2.
Right.
As your referee. This is 25 years later. Perhaps they are gone.
Yes.
They don't even remember you.
Yes.
So pick somebody in the education sector,
Right.
in the internship, in the mentorship space, but never pick a family member. The other thing to avoid is, as you drop CV, as you go job hunting, avoid putting people's mobile numbers and names in your CV.
Right.
In the reference part, you'd rather avoid. For obvious reasons. As you drop your CV in various companies, what do some of them pick? They pick it and put it in the dustbin. Who comes and empties the litter bin? The cleaner.
Right.
Where do they end up? In the marketplace, wrapping meat. So imagine a very important person in the country, you have picked their name as a CEO because you had a photo shot somewhere at the university, they see their names in a meat wrapper. Data protection comes in.
Right.
So if you are just job hunting, avoid putting referees.
Right.
But if you have now made up your mind to apply for a specific job you have seen advertised for, put referees, but let those people know, expect a call. I would wish to put you as a referee.
Right.
So that when they are called, they can vouch for you, they can say, yes, A, B, C, D, I know about it.
Right. Thank you so much for clarifying on the data protection part of it. Emmanuel, ndio wakati ulikuwa unaandika your first CV. What did you put as your referee?
Interesting that he said teachers. So I did my high school teacher, my principal, because this is somebody that had, those people that work with you and really encourage you.
Right.
Despite, as I said, not academically adept, mi sikuwa number 1, 2, 3, but he would always see the other things I would do. So I thought this is a great person. So I put him. I put my lecturer from university, then spiritual mentor as well. So those 3 were my referees.
All right. So Mr. Hosea, hata kama kuna mahali nafanya volunteering, the supervisors and the leaders I'm working with there, I can include them
Yes,
as my referees.
please do.
All right, great. So now we've written that very good CV, tumeipeleka pale, now it is in your hands, all right? So how long does it take roughly when you're previewing them? And sometimes just help us understand also a number ambao unaweza pata in a day for like an entry level job. How many CVs do people like bring about?
For some positions, very many, in the thousands. You realize that many people don't have jobs.
Right.
So once the application is placed there, people really submit CVs.
Right.
So there are times we deal with thousands depending on the level. Entry level are usually large numbers.
Right.
But for specific hires, experienced hires, it's probably a little less.
All right.
Yes.
So umepitia hii CV yangu, nimekuimpress. My academic background is tops. What I've done is tops. Hobbies zangu ni kama ziko sawa. why then do I need another part 2 hii interview? So nipe job, umeona CV iko sawa, ni mtu anajielewa. So just help us understand kwa nini ni muhimu sana tukue na hiyo session ya interview. What are you looking out for further in that session that probably haikutokea vizuri kwa CV?
So there's what is impressive on your CV, and that led us to calling you for the interview. But we also want to interact with you. We also want you to interact with the organization so that you see even where you're coming to join. So that interaction is important, and we also want to assess if what you put on the CV is actually what we are looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
I can add on to that.
Yes, sure, please.
They say one look is more than 1,000 reports. CV is reporting about you. Us looking at you is another.
Right.
There are also those soft skills that your CV will not tell us. Emotional intelligence, attitude, communication skills. Your CV will not tell us unless we meet you.
Right.
So us looking at you validates what you have written for us.
All right.
Yes.
So I want to come to you, utuambie now, how do I stand out in that interview? Nimeitwa day 1, nimeenda kuomba tai mahali. Emmanuel alikuwa mtu wa shamba. I'm sure day 1 fixing the outfit for the interview was a hassle. You'll tell us about that. But before then, let's hear what the audience and the people that we are speaking to today are saying. We want to read some of your feedback and questions. Tunaona pale Ali Jamanda on Zoom. Thank you for being with us today. Anasema, if you're in a job that you feel is not relevant to the job stroke profession you are applying for. Say you're applying for accountant and you have been serving as a BOM teacher. Can you include it as an experience?
Yes, you can. That's an experience.
So please expound further on that.
You see, working gives you experience. You interact with people.
Right.
You exploit what you learned in school.
Right.
If you are looking to employ somebody who has just sat at home from campus, you're just in the house doing nothing, and somebody who has been up and about doing something. This person who has been up and about, a BOM teacher, that's a plug and play.
Right.
There are certain things you won't have to start teaching them from scratch. They have handled people, they have handled pressure, they have been able to articulate themselves clearly, they know what to get approval, at least they have learned the rope.
Right.
It takes shorter time for somebody who has done something, so whatever it is, to plug in and start giving value than somebody who has nothing at all.
Right.
Yes.
There you go. Ali, usiogope kuandika your experience yako, even if you're feeling it's not in line with the job that you're applying for. It's experience, and it will give you an upper hand. We can look at more feedback that is coming through, and remember, we want to listen to you as much as possible, so please talk to us across our social media platforms. Our experts are here to make sure that we give you the correct answers. So before I move to the next feedback, I'll come to you, Emmanuel.
Yes.
All right, so after umetuma CV,
Yes.
how long did it take before now you got the call?
Yes. For me, it was that sweet spot between 4 to 6 weeks. So I had given my CV like a month later. Dear Emmanuel, my name is XXX.
Yes.
We'd like to invite you for an interview.
Right.
Yes.
How did you feel?
It was scary and exhilarating at the same time.
Right.
Why do I say this? One, I hadn't really done internships. Here I am, vile umesema, jama wa gumboots, in the farm, selling nuts, selling eggs. I was used to that. So the shift mentally to now come to a space where you have to present yourself, vizuri sana, talk in a certain way. Not that that was an issue, but those elements of now going from an extreme left all the way now to the extreme right, which is the corporate world.
Right. So
yeah.
it was more nervous and scary even
Yes.
before the excitement,
Yes.
which very many young people feel, and you'll be talking to us about how to handle that. Lakini pia tunaona Whitney Award on Zoom anasema, if I am not a graduate, however you have worked for small jobs but you don't have more experience, how do we go about that CV? Huyu haja graduate bado, kuna hiyo category ambayo mtaangalia madegree ya mtu afanye nini?
Okay, I'd advise learning is a journey. Getting jobs is not a one-day thing.
Right.
The good thing is that she knows what is missing. She knows what is lacking. It is a good opportunity to upskill. It's a good opportunity to pursue As they pursue the learning to graduate, there are these, whatever she's doing, keep doing it. Number 2, focus on your studies, because you see, there's one thing at a time. You can only do one thing at a time. If it's a time to study, study. But you know, over 60 or 70% of employers today require a degree to employ you. So in the formal employment space, that is a requirement.
Right.
But I believe there are other employers or employment spaces where a Form 4 qualification is sufficient. You showing that you have an ongoing study. Yeah, there are some employers who employ you under the promise that you follow through and finish and graduate and provide. Some, on exceptional basis, some employers do that. Let's say you are in 3rd year. An opening is there. We need you. Your skill set, your attitude, everything you have looks the part, and we need you. We onboard you. An employer can onboard you, but under the agreement that you pursue and finish your studies, which some organizations are gracious enough to help you finish your studies.
Right.
So, yeah,
All
it depends with the employment that you're looking for. It depends on how soon or how hungry they are for a position. If somebody has spotted you, regardless of your academic qualifications, it is now for you to pursue it.
All right.
As you work or as you continue looking for jobs.
Okay.
Yes.
So Whitney should keep upskilling.
Yes.
All right, great. So we also have another feedback on Zoom. Vincent Owino anauliza, how can I tailor make a CV and apply for a job outside my jurisdiction? Anne,
Yes.
anataka kutailor make CV yake. What advice can you give them?
Yeah, remember Jose alluded to having a master CV. So you have this job and you just need to pick your experience that is relevant to that role, because you will have gotten what is being looked for. There's a criteria that is in the application. So it's for you to pick the relevant experience from your master CV and now align your current CV to the role that you're applying to.
All right,
Yeah.
great. Thank you so much for that. Jose, I'll come back to you. Ulisikia Emmanuel alisema, once he got the call, it's a good call. That's what he's been waiting for. But his first emotion was, I'm scared. And a lot of us get scared because now you know, unaenda kuingia room flani, watu wamedunga masuti, maswali ni hizo ngumu. So even before we get to the kind of questions that they will be asked, how do I present myself for this interview? That will help me first stand out.
Okay.
All right? And then now we can get into those tough questions that could come from the interview.
Okay. On your part as an interviewee, very simple things. Come early to the interview. You can't run into an interview 10 seconds to the interview. You'll come in sweating, panting, trying to catch your breath, disorganized. So on your part, come early. On your part, research in advance about the job, the company, the venue where you will go to, and the time of the meeting. Sometimes somebody tells you come to, let's say, Nairobi CBD, this building, Nyayo House. You see, you are excited about the interview. You fail to grasp all the information about the interview day. Then the interview day, you don't even remember the call, ABCD. So prepare yourself, know the venue, the time, what you are being recruited for, about the company, then come early.
Right.
Now, on the side of the employer and the panelists, we make sure we settle you down. The first 1 to 5 questions, we help you settle down.
Right.
We can ask you questions just to cool your nerves. We'll invite you, we'll catch up, we'll break the ice. And as we do that, we'll be judging. Is Nina now ready for the interview?
All right.
Once you have seen, you have settled, you are ready, and which we'll ask you to confirm, now we'll go right into the interview. Yes.
All right. So when you also tell that young person, research about the company that
Yes.
you're going to, what sort of information are they researching? Kwa sababu there's so much in a company, and you don't want them to maybe research something that is irrelevant. So if you were to guide them, research ambayo unafanya about this company that you're going for an interview, what should you focus on? Unafaa kujua at least what and what about that company.
Okay. Just going to the website to look for a company is not enough. Researching about a company is what sets you apart from somebody looking for a job and somebody looking for the job.
Right.
So there are things that are very key you need to know about a company. It will be interesting if I'm surprised to know about our strategy plan. It will be interesting if you know about our core values and behaviors. It will shock me if you know about my financials. If let's say it's a bank, for example, you know we made 100 billion just the other day, or we took a 50% dip year-on-year growth. It will shock me that we have been doing round in social media, we have a reputation risk, and no wonder we are hiring for a communication expert, which you have come to interview for. So that whatever you have researched about me as a company, you come and marry it to the interview and tell me, I know you have a gap. As a company, the other day you just had an issue with, so I remember you are CEO, you just recruited a new CEO the other day, so I'm sure you're looking. You see, getting to know about the leadership of that company, his background, their ideals, the structure, helps you not only to fit, but see what in the interview, while they are questioning you, will you be able to pick, I know as a company you're going through this, I have this, and that's why you need me. Right. So don't just go to the internet and look for information and pick it and no.
Right.
Specifics.
So know the core values,
yes.
know what's happening inside there, know if they have any social media campaigns
yes.
that they're running,
yes.
if you're feeling like you can be part of them. Great. Thank you so much for shedding light on that. Wacha tuangalie maswali ambayo we have from you, our viewers. Victor Cheriot on Zoom anauliza, what's the negative effect of having a gray area, or rather a scenario where you lost a job and have been jobless for over 5 years? And mtu ambaye ako katika situation kama hii, hajakuwa katika employment kama miaka 5, ndio hiyo he has a CV that he needs to drop. What you write hapo?
Yeah, he can show that he's not been in employment for some time. And remember, when you come to the interview, there are things you can come out and say in the interview. I've been jobless for this reason, and be authentic about it. So there's nothing wrong with being off a job. You can highlight that and maybe even give insights on why that has been. For some people, kumekauka, hakuna job. Na uwezi force useme ati nimekuwa nikifanya job. It's just to say your truth, be authentic, and indicate if the job you lost it for a certain reason. You can say it.
Right. Yeah. What if you lost the job? Kuna unaweza poteza kazi kwa sababu, I mean, the company is going through different issues. They decide to downsize. They're going elsewhere, or you're fired. Ikifika mahali ulifutwa because of something wrong that happened. Are you able to bring that up? Is it an important aspect to bring about in the interview?
I'd take somebody who says the truth more seriously.
All right.
Yeah.
Sema tu kweli.
Sema ukweli.
And what will interest me is not that you didn't have a job. What have you been doing from the job loss to now?
To now.
What have you been busy doing?
Right.
Studying, volunteering,
right.
supporting here and there,
right.
Doing some business, selling even mayai. Jeff Bezos, one of his stories, he says he was doing a door-to-door selling soft drinks.
I'm laughing because Emmanuel was selling eggs at some point. More power to you. More power to you. So let's pick one more question and then we continue the conversation here. Brian Haneri on Zoom anasema, let's say you graduated like 3 months ago. How do I go about trying to convince the panel that even if I've not met the requirements of the years of experience needed, I can do the job better? Sana sana mnatuambia you want someone with 5 years of experience, 10. Huyu akona graduate 3 months ago but anajiaminia. Mr. Hosea, do you give such people a chance? Is it possible for them to convince you? Ile, trust me, I don't have 10 years of experience, but count on me, I'll get this done. Does it work?
The issue is the definition of experience. People think experience is sitting behind a desk and working for 5-10 years. Experience is internship. You are an intern for 3 months. Experience is you sold mayai for the 4 years in campus. That's a salesperson. Experience is you volunteered in a children's home. You learned. If a company is recruiting for a daycare expert, and you've said while I was studying, I volunteered in a children's home. If I'm recruiting for a teacher, and you've said you volunteered in a children's home, that's not a school, but that's an experience. So experience is not being employed and earning money. Experience is what are these things you have done that have built up to your character, other than your academic qualification. So the pushback is, what have you done other than studying? If it is something that has made you learn a skill, that is an experience, whatever you call it.
All right. Thank you for that. Emmanuel, let's go back to you. Wakati sasa umeenda the interview. What challenge did you face in the interview? Is there a question that probably caught you off guard? Hii nayo haukuwa umerehearse.
two questions that caught me off guard. One was about a failure that I had experienced, or a mistake that I had done. I think that's how they had termed it. And the second was, what have you ever seen people around you do the wrong thing, and what did you do? Yeah, those ones, sasa me, I was not ready.
Right.
You know, you've done all the others, you're expecting what are financials, bank, what do we do?
Yeah.
Hey, these ones now on character, I wasn't ready. So I remember for the one that dealt with what mistake had I seen. Obviously now I've just finished university. My recent experience that I thought of was sasa mtu anauliza Mwakenya. You're about to enter the exam room, and you're there and it's like, guys, we are all in the same boat. Exam ni exam. So I remember just telling them, hey, by the way, I wish you the best, but here's to make. So that was one. And for me, it was just being able to set the boundary and say that one I can do. And especially at this point, you've grown up. You've had all your experience, high school, primo, not being the greatest. At this point, I didn't want such things in my life.
Right.
The second one was, now what mistake have you ever made? And I just told them about now the honest part.
Yes.
With being a child, you're struggling grades, kila kitu, you're seeing your friends get A's, B's, number ones, number twos. Me up, I've gotten my D's and E's. And you have to take this report kwa wazazi. Hey, I looked, I said, Apa, this is hard. So what did I do? Me, I thought I was being smart. Badilisha D
To
B.
B.
E B. And I said, you know what, I as the teacher, I marked this wrong. And I took it to my paros. I remember that evening, waliangalia hiyo report. And they just said, boss, do you think we'll accept this? They even left the house, came back, I think, 5 hours later. Sasa hapo, that was an experience that I had faced. That wasn't those mistakes that you make. You think they're legitimate, but hey, Jama, you've done the wrong thing. And so I shared that. To my detriment, mi sikujua if I was going to get the job or not, because I lied. And I was honest about it. I lied. Nilifanya makosa. If that doesn't make me get the job, so be it.
It's the truth at the end of the day. Right. So Jose, now that brings up the aspect of some questions will catch you off guard. Umefikiria utauliza maswali kama hayo. If you feel you're not ready, can you ask them to, I'll come back to this a bit later, so that also you don't fumble or you don't take forever trying to look for a scenario. How do you go about that? Na hiyo maswali ikitokea, how is the best way to handle them?
Thank you. One, never lie. Two, if you can't answer, if nothing comes to your mind immediately, it's okay to say, can we come to it later? Okay? Three, if you're being asked about a situation or a scenario on something that you have never experienced, just say, I've never experienced it, but flip it. If I was to experience it, I'll do ABCD. But there's a tried and tested approach to that. There's something called the STAR way of doing it. S stands for the situation. T stands for the task. A stands for what was the activity or the action you took. R stands for the results. So if you are approached with a situation where you're supposed to give a scenario, start with S or T, the situation or the task. What was it? Went through the ABCD. I was assigned to do ABCD. Like his case, he has said the grading issue. The situation was poor performance, poor grades. Okay, what was the task? He was able to, he changed his grades.
Great.
Okay, what was the action? Okay, his intention was to take these poor grades to the parents to convince them otherwise. What was the result? It was blasted. But you see, as an interview panel, we are not so much onto his mistake. We are onto, can he be honest? Can he handle his faults? You can be asked what are your weaknesses, tell us I don't have weaknesses. You see? So be honest, say the truth. If you have not genuinely experienced something, flip it and say, if I were to do this, I would. If you don't know, you are still blank, we still have time during the interview, just say, allow me to come to it. We will ask you, can we go back to this question? If you remember, yes. If you don't, it's okay. The thing is, you have been honest, and that's what you are looking for.
All right.
Yes.
All right, great. Emmanuel, if you look at the different interviews you've managed to go for,
Yes.
pengine ukiangalia ile yenye unaweza sema, hii one point nilichoma mahali. Kuna mahali nilichoma once I went for the interview. So
Yes.
that all the young people who are listening to us right now don't have to repeat the same mistake.
Yes.
Unaona kama ushaifanya makosa wapi?
Yes. Hey, so for me, there's this one interview I have in mind. So nimeenda, we've done the interview, kila kitu, I've answered the questions. Umebeba file kubwa.
Yes.
So after the interview, you asked, do you have any questions for us? Obviously, at that time, I felt as if I had gotten enough. So I was like, no, niko sawa, but niko na gifts. Niko na njugu. Hizi njugu zenye sasa niko kwa streets nauza. Nimekuletea tu, just to say thank you for giving me this chance. Hey, umenitoa mbali. So I removed from the bag. I was told, pause. Simama. We don't do that here.
Yeah.
Kindly just take them back home. We wish you the best. Now that we wish you the best was the part sasa unashanga. Hey, by the way, is this it? I've already choman. Nimesema sasa I was a cheater, I was a liar. Sasa now it's like mini briber sasa. So that one, yeah, that was a mistake that I think looking back, I wouldn't do anymore.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Wale mtu ambaye anataka kukuja kwa interview and they are generous. They're not trying to bribe. Yani tu wameamua. Unajua ushago tumefundishwa ukienda kwa mtu usiende
Unabeba
mkono
token.
mtupu.
Yes.
It's an African thing that we were taught. But do we draw the line when it comes to the interview? Nikikuletea hata chocolate, as I leave, have something, to boost that sugar level.
Yeah.
Utakubali?
Sitakubali.
All right.
Reason being, the interpretation, what will it be perceived as? Itakaa ni kama nikipokea, like if you don't get the position, ataanza kusema na vile nilijitolea nikakuja na njugu, I have been struggling, this is a gift I brought for you, but it's the interpretation for the panelists. Like, will you be compromised? Yeah, it leaves us feeling funny.
Right.
Juu sasa unashanga, okay, should this influence my decision about you? So don't carry them. My advice there.
Right.
Don't carry them.
Right.
Yeah.
And what if I do a follow-up? Sababu mlinipigia simu, it means either I have your phone number or I have your email as well. Nikitoka hiyo interview na nitume message ama email nikisema thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure coming in for the interview.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Hosea?
Yes and no. It depends with the company or whom you are dealing with. If you are to do it, what matters is who are you writing to. Right. If an email wrote to you and you are writing back to that email, somebody invited you, you are calling them back. This person has nothing to do with the interview panel. That is okay.
Okay.
But you soliciting for our numbers, give me your number, give me your number, give me your number, then I'll call you, ni aje, kulienda aje, uliona aje, nimemake. That is canvassing. Okay? So it depends on how you are doing it, what you are doing, the motive of you doing it, and with the company. Certain companies don't allow.
Right.
That is canvassing, outright canvassing.
Right.
Others even appreciate it, that you are able to call back. Again, what matters is the content of the call or the message. If you just appreciate for the time, ABCD is okay. But if you just want to start getting, you want to know feedback and other things, so whom can I talk to in that company to do ABCD, you're going overboard.
All right.
So it depends with the company, whatever you are recruiting for, the content of your information, and who you are talking to.
Right.
Whoever invited you, chances are it's not the same person who will sit in the interview panel.
All right.
But the panelists should not be compromised. They should
Okay.
not be engaged until you're fully absorbed by them.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you for making that very clear for us. Let's look at some of the feedback that we have coming in across our different social media platforms. That's Cobank Kenya. Tuanze na Haron Makoha anasema, I just graduated last year. Is it more advisable to look for an internship or just go direct to job hunting? This is because all I have is lots of theory and an industrial attachment. All right. Virginia pale pia anauliza, is it important to add your picture on a CV? Is it important to do that? Let's look at maybe another feedback. Yitzhak Rabin anasema, what about ATS certified CVs which pick on specific aspects on a CV? How do we streamline and make our CVs ATS certified? Because when applying for jobs, I hear a lot of these ATS CVs. So tutaanza now. All right, let's start with him.
Okay.
What, yeah.
ATS certified CVs, you know, ATS is something used by employers just to track your application. I think it's applicant tracking system. Okay, so it is able to quickly scan your CV. It can even give you a summary of how you are doing. Out of the core competencies required, you are doing 5 out of 10, ABCD. It is just to track the whole. It helps us, you know, the manual way would be, I get the 3,000s of CVs, start doing the manual review, pick, do ABCD. But now ATS is able to quickly scan, CV, do everything, and even tell the recruiter, these have been provided, tell them this person matches the skill set. Okay? So the catch is this. There's AI, there are modes and ways of doing CV and everything else. You can easily copy paste. But even have used that to make work easier. After doing all that, now look at your CV, tailor make it to you, own it. Okay? After owning it, review the specifics of the job you have applied for, and the description, and the skill sets that they require. Can they see them in your CV? Because that's what ATS does. It picks what I require as an employer, reviews what you have given me as a CV, scans and marries and says, these are match, these are high potential ABC. So do your thing, but be authentic. Do your thing, but let it be you. Do your thing, but let it speak to the job that you are applying for.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you for that. Anne, niweke picha kwa CV ama nisiweke picha?
Unaweza weka as long as it's professionally done.
All right.
Yeah.
Nisiweke zile tunaikanga Instagram. Love it. Usiweke hiyo a professional picture. All right, great. Kuna mwingine pia alikuwa muuliza mambo ya just graduated recently. Should they look for an internship?
Yes.
Ama aende to straight into job hunting? What do you advise such a person? Both of them.
Start looking for a job. As you wait for a door to open, look for things you can do. Do an internship, volunteer, network, seek mentorship.
Okay.
So these are the things you do will meet at the gate when the job has the gate has been opened. There's an opening. So do both.
Atafute zote mbili, haina shida. All right, thank you. So let's move on. Tukienda pale kwa interview. Mmeniuliza maswali. Am I allowed to ask you some questions as well?
Yes. In fact, when you ask questions, it tells us that you are curious.
Okay.
You are aware and you are ready for the interview.
All right.
Of course, usiulize maswali mingi and don't ask questions that do not concern like the role that you are being interviewed for. Yeah.
All right. How many questions is enough?
One, never fail to ask a question.
Okay.
You see, recruitment is we take the best candidate.
Right.
People don't know we give marks if you ask a question. So imagine somebody has scored 90. You are also having 89. If you asked a question, it will give you 91. Somebody wins. So never fail to ask a question.
All right.
Depending on the level, entry level, a question is okay.
Right.
Experienced, a question up to 3 is okay.
Right.
Beyond 5 is now too much. Another thing to avoid is you have asked a question, 1, 2, 3. We have answered them. Now you start a rejoinder. It now becomes a conversation. It now becomes a conversation.
By the way, ile point ya pili
no, avoid that.
All right. Na isipite maswali 5.
5 is too much for an experienced hire.
All right.
And a fresh graduate, 1 to 3 is okay.
All right. Yes. Great. Emmanuel, uliuliza maswali?
Sikuuliza. Yangu ni, do you want peanuts?
So now you know, don't leave the interview room without asking a question. Yes. There's marks for that.
Yes.
All right, great. Twende pale online tuone watu wanasema nini kwenye mitandao. Captain Mutia anasema, why do employers choose older people over the young generation despite good qualifications and a good CV as well? Captain Mutia anauliza pia, if someone has done secondary school twice and now has 2 certificates for secondary education, is it appropriate to include all the certificates, or you should just add the latest certificate? On international jobs, how do I write and format my CV to fit to international specifications? Are there international formats for CV types and specifics? And mbona mnapatia wazee kazi? ampati vijana mbona mna consider them more? Is that a thing? Is it true ama pia ni assumption kidogo?
We consider both.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't say ati hatutapatia young people job. We do.
Alright.
And really the workforce right now has a lot of young people. Maybe the only reason that they would have been left out is when it was looking for the level of experience.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Well understood.
Yes.
Alafu huyo wa certificate mbili ya secondary aeke zote ama the latest one. Alafu kama pia you're targeting international job,
Yes.
are their CVs different? Is there a way that you need to write it?
Yes.
Ama format it
Okay.
different from us here?
Okay. Like I said in the opening remarks, the level of how many certificates or which certificate to include depends on the level of experience of the job you're applying for. An entry level, fresh from campus, you hardly have 2-3 certificates, high school, primary, and degree, and any professional courses.
Right.
So it does no harm to put them there.
Right.
If you have studied so much, you have a PhD, a master's, these other certifications, those basic ones, other than the Form 4 certificate, not necessary.
All right.
But it depends with the job. There are jobs that a Class 8 and a Form 4 certificate is very key.
Right.
As to how to do the CV, there are professional ways, there are sites, there are people. You can hire a professional to do your CV for you.
Right.
Most of the international ones.
All right.
Yes, you can.
Great. So let's go to Jacob Kimanzi. And Auliza, I recently attended an interview where the HR manager informed me that they would contact me if I was successful. However, later the same role was re-advertised with lower requirements. For example, the initial requirement was a B+ in KCSE and a bachelor's degree, whereas in the second advertisement, it was reduced to a C+ and a diploma. What does this imply about their recruitment process? Additionally, do all companies typically provide feedback after interviews, or is it common not to receive any communication if one is unsuccessful? Don't
Okay.
call us, we'll call you.
Okay.
Do you give that feedback? Alafu mbona job imeitwa, requirements ziko hapa.
Yes.
Sometime later, the same job is out there, requirements zimeshuka chini kidogo.
Okay.
What leads to such scenarios?
That happens. That's normal. Even in the government, it happens. Let's say we were anticipating 120 applications. Then we fall short of that because applications, 100 applications do not translate to 100 absorptions. You may end up with 10 or 15 shortlisted. So if a company sent out an interview out there, I mean an advert, then less than anticipated applied, it's okay to re-advertise and lower.
Downgrade. Okay.
So that you have more. Actually, the person should be happy that the company was now allowing room for more people to apply. If you had applied before and they have not said, if those who had applied did not reapply, feel free to reapply.
Okay.
They'll be specific. We are re-advertising. If you had applied, don't reapply. But if they don't say it, everyone should reapply.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
In terms of feedback, if we tell you we'll get back to you in 2 to 3 weeks' time, if we fail, it does no harm calling back to find out.
Right.
Yes.
All right.
If we didn't say only shortlisted will be contacted, or if we didn't tell you if you don't hear from us after 3 weeks, count it unsuccessful. If the door was left open, it does no harm to call back to find out.
Right.
Yes.
All right. So now let's talk about hapo kwa hiyo interview. Are you allowed to start talking about your salary? Can you negotiate it at that point? Ama ni ngoje kidogo?
Okay.
And
I would suggest you do it professionally if you must. But I think the best time is when the offer is presented to you. So when you have received the offer, you can ask wisely. So maybe a question like, is there flexibility on the salary range?
Right.
So you see, the way you ask it will not throw off the employer. So ask if there is flexibility. If not, then maybe you can find out what are the other benefits that I will get other than the current pay, and then maybe you can ask when there will be room for negotiation.
all right.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for that. Wacha tukuje kwa zile thoughtful questions ambazo ulikuwa umesema, please don't walk out of that room without asking a questions. Ana alituambia there's some questions that don't ask certain things that are not relevant to the interview. But from your perspective, ukituambia those relevant things that someone can ask, ulisema utatupatia Mwakenya. Ndio hii tunaitisha Mwakenya. Niulize maswali kama ya aina gani that will at least position me better in the interview.
A question like, what does success look like in this role in 6 months' time? A question like, I can see that you recently launched your 5-year strategic plan. Okay, and I'm now seeing you are recruiting so and so this role. So what are your priority areas for a person who is to fit in this role? You can ask, supposing I'm successful in this role, what are some of the challenges that the department I'll be leading or where I'll be working? What are some of the issues, what are your most immediate concerns or desires for this role? It shows you are interested, you have researched, you are ready, you are good to go. Okay? It must be in relations to the role, it must be something about the company or what you are applying for. Then as you ask the question, make us interested. Make us say, this is the catch, this is the person. Ask the question to arouse our curiosity. Not just because you want to earn marks. Yes.
Great. So I want to read the feedback, but before I do that, just Anne, I want you to help us understand. Sasa ino utapata mtu is a young mother, a young father. Siku ile ameitwa interview ndio ile siku hakuna babysitter, hakuna nani. Is it okay nikikuja na huyo mtoto pale kwa interview? Will it throw you guys off? What happens?
So before you even come, you know that you're already experiencing that situation. So there are 2 things you can do. Number 1, there are some cheap daycares where you can take your child for the time being, ndio uweze kukuja kuconcentrate. It does no harm to reach out to the recruiter because they reach out to you either on phone or on email and say, I'm having this challenge. Is there any room for you to help me? Some organizations have daycare services for their staff. So they'll tell you, come with a child, we will sort you out as you take your interview.
Right. Great. All right, so let's look at the feedback as we come towards wrapping up our session. Haida Ali anasema, I graduated in 2023 and have 2 years of experience, including an internship completed alongside a full-time role at a private company. Would overlapping roles and leadership experience from university be considered toward meeting a 3-year experience requirement? Memwelewa?
You can go through it again.
All right, so we'll take that again. Mustafa Hassan anasema, from a recruiter's perspective, does submitting a CV via email or delivering it physically in person give a candidate a better chance of being noticed and reviewed? Tupeane kwa email ama tuilete physically?
Go by what the advert says.
Okay.
They'll specify.
Okay.
Send through if an advert has done through Daily Nation, but you have a clue it is Equity Bank, don't write to Equity Bank directly. Write to Daily Nation.
Right.
If they say via online, click a link, send via an email, deliver via post, go by what has been stated there.
Right.
Yes.
Follow the instructions.
Follow the instructions.
Right.
Yes.
Jeffin Zwanaina anasema, what role does the cover letter play in the interview process, and does it give any edge? Anne?
A cover letter, yes, it's just simply to, we look at things like formatting. Even the way you've presented the cover letter tells us a bit about you. So there's no problem with attaching it. Make sure it's written well, it's formatted well, haina spelling mistakes. Yeah, so it's important. It's okay.
Okay. Kuna hiyo swali ya kwanza.
The overlapping,
the overlapping
3 years.
one, he was talking about pengine alikuwa he had a different role where he played a leadership role, but at the same time he was working somewhere in another company. Ni kama amefanya 3 years but in 2 different companies. Unanielewa? So can he put it all as 3 years in leadership as much as moja totally different companies?
Yes, it's okay.
Can he merge the years of experience into one?
In fact, we'll see it. If you indicate company A 2 years and company 2 this number of years, it is a years of experience.
All right.
Yes, it's the context.
Okay.
Yes.
So I want to give each one of us a parting shot opportunity. Each of you will take 30 seconds to speak to the young people out there who are preparing themselves either to write the CV, dropping their CVs, going for the interviews. What are you going to tell them? I'll start with you, Hosea.
To the young people out there are so many job opportunities out here. It is for you to get one or create one. Okay? A degree is just a basic. Okay? Like I said, many companies, 70% of companies today look for a degree. That's a basic. What matters is, what are you going to do with that degree?
Right.
Attitude is key, behavior is key, agility to learn the rope and climb the ladder. It is upon you.
All right.
Yes.
I'll go to Anne before I come to Emmanuel. Aongeleshe my youth.
Yeah.
Anne, speak to the young people who
Yeah.
are listening to you right now.
Yeah. So when you're posting your CV, please make sure that it is clear, it demonstrates the level of skills that we are looking for, and it is easy to read. That it is something that we don't have to, you know, look through and skip. It's something that is easy to read, clear in the way it's formatted, and even when you come to the interview, do your research well, prepare, and come confident.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Emmanuel, over
Yes.
to you. Kuna vijana wengi wanakuangalia saa hizi. They're happy for you and they're hoping even them at some point they'll be able to grow like you have grown. Tulisikia story yako last week. You're here with us today. Of course, you are an inspiration to many young people. A word of encouragement that you give them as they navigate this space of trying to get employment, positioning themselves.
Yes.
What can you tell them?
I think for me, one, not giving up, and the right attitude. If I recall, there are many times, but it's not, and it didn't come through.
Right.
The aspect of having the right people around you when you are bado anaweza kupea hiyo motisha, and actually believing in yourself and not giving up.
All right.
If it takes you doing your own thing, tuuze hiyo mayai, tuuze hiyo nuts, as we
Tuuze
still
mayai.
look
All right.
for the other
All
opportunities.
right. Make sure, alisema, you can create the job.
Get the job or create the
create
job.
the
Yes.
job. All right. Nataka kujua superpowers. If you had a superpower, nataka mniambie superpower yenu alafu tufunge hii this forum for today. And if you had if you was to have a superpower, ungependa ikuwe gani?
Teleporting.
Aha. Emmanuel?
For some reason, right now, making people happy. That'd be really nice.
But you make us happy.
No, but the ability to, you know, somebody akiwa down, but you have automatic, you have something to lift everyone's spirits up. That is
Okay. Yeah.
Raising people from the dead.
Wow.
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 And we wrap it up there. Thank you so much for being with us. To every single one of you that was streaming in across our social media platforms, CoopBank Kenya, on Facebook, on Zoom, on YouTube, as well as Twitter. Thank you so much for being with us today. It has been an absolute pleasure learning so much about CVs, positioning yourself for the interviews, and also how to answer some of the very, very hard questions. Remember, you may not control the opportunities, but you can control how prepared you are for these opportunities. And that's why here at Cooperative Bank Youth Forum's Conversations, we are empowering you to make sure that you're ready for what the world has in store. That's why our hashtag is Let's Go, Let's Grow. Thank you so much for being here. See you again next Friday, same place, same time, with so much more. Goodbye.